Hello everyone, this is a new study and the title of it is going to be the Speedy Riddance. And the reason we're having this video today is because of events that have happened with Donald Trump saying that the capital of Israel is now Jerusalem for the embassy. And so there's been a big uproar for, some people, and then other people have realized he didn't sign the waiver, or he did sign it. So basically what we want to talk about is the uproar that has happened in Jerusalem. This is all prophesied in the scriptures, which that's what we're going to talk about today. And so today's date, for those who want to know when this happened, when we're talking, is Chislev 22, 2021, or on the Gregorian calendar, December 9, 2017. And I want to start out by saying that the Yah has control of all events. And if we go to Proverbs 21:1, it says, "The king's heart is in the hand of the Yah. As the rivers of water, he turneth it wheresoever he will." So whatever his will is, he's going to cause the king's heart to be moved like a river in the way that he wants the events to happen. So these events are happening for a specific time. We talked about the eclipse previously. We're eclipsing from one time to another, and we saw the eclipse on
August 21.
So we know that was significant, and so we're seeing that there's wars happening now, people bombing and upset about what Trump said. Now, let me also read Ezekiel 12, 23 to 28, and then we will go from there explaining the events that are really exciting that are happening now. Okay, so Ezekiel 12, 23 through 28. "Tell them, therefore, thus saith the Yah." So this is what Yah is saying. "Tell them, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel. But say unto them, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision." This is letting us know these visions that prophets had is about to start coming to fulfillment. Okay? "For there shall be no more any vain vision, nor flattering divination within the house of Israel. For I am the Yah, I will speak, and the word that I shall speak shall come to pass. It shall be no more prolonged, for in your days, O rebellious house, will I say the word, and will perform it, saith the Yah." So the Yah is going to do his will. He will perform it. "Again, the word of the Yah came unto me, saying, Son of man, behold, they of the house of Israel say, the vision that he seeth is for many days to come." You see, we know that's what the SDA say. That's for many days, days off. We don't know when these things will happen. Plus, they don't even know what is about to happen because they're in darkness. And so he says, for many days to come, and he prophesies of the times that are far off. So, "Therefore saith unto them, saith the Yah, there shall none of my words be prolonged any more. But the word which I have spoken shall be done, saith the Yah." Now this is about to happen. You are seeing, we've been prophesying that these are the last day events. And we're seeing these things happen for a reason. Because the effect of every vision, the days are at hand.
Okay, I want to add to that in Habakkuk 2, verses 1 to 4. "I will stand upon my watch, and set me up on the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Yah answered me and said, Write the vision, and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the time is yet for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith." So Habakkuk was told to write the vision. It was for an appointed time, but when that time comes, it'll speak and not tarry anymore. And we're seeing that come to pass here in the latter days as we near the end.
Adding to that Habakkuk that you just read, in Habakkuk 1:5 it says, "Behold ye among the heathen, and regard and wonder marvelously, for I will work a work in your days, which you will not believe, though it be told you."
That's Haggai. Haggai 1:5. That's a good one.
No, this is Habakkuk 1:5.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Now let's go to Ezekiel 21, and we'll read verse 25 through 32. "And thou, profane, wicked prince of Israel, whose day is come, when iniquity shall have an end." So there's going to be an end to iniquity. We know that. "Thus saith Yahweh, remove the diadem and take off the crown. This shall not be the same. Exalt him that is low, and abase him that is high. I will overturn it, and it shall be no more, until he come whose right it is, and I will give it him. And thou, son of man, prophesy and say, Thus saith the Yahweh concerning the Ammonites, and concerning their reproach, even say thou, the sword is drawn, for the slaughter is furbished to consume because of the glittering." So his sword is drawn, and the slaughter is soon to commence. "Whilst they see vanity unto thee, whilst they divine a lie unto thee, to bring thee upon the necks of them that are slain, of the wicked, whose day is come." So the day of the wicked is come, and they're going to be eliminated. "When their iniquity shall have an end, shall I cause it to return into his sheath? I will judge thee in the place where thou wast created, in the land of thy nativity. And I will pour out mine indignation upon thee. I will blow against thee in the fire of my wrath, and deliver thee into the hand of brutish men, and skillful to destroy." He's going to bring this judgment upon this profane, wicked prince of Israel. See, and it's going to happen in our day. Verse 32 says, "Thou shalt be for fuel to the fire." So if you're one of the wicked, you're just going to be fuel for the fire. You're just going to be burned up. "Thy blood shall be in the midst of the land. Thou shalt be no more remembered, for I, the Yah, have spoken it." So the wicked are going to be wiped out, and we're not even going to think or remember it anymore. Okay, now we'll go to the book of Zephaniah, and verse 1. Okay, Zephaniah chapter 1 and I'll start with verse 2. It says, "I will utterly consume all things from off the land, saith the Yah." So there's going to be a consummation decreed where he consumes. He says, verse 3, "I will consume man and beast. I will consume the fowls of the heaven and the fishes of the sea and the stumbling blocks with the wicked. And I will cut off man from off the land, saith the Yah." So he's going to consume man and beast and the stumbling blocks, those that are standing in the way of not allowing the truth to reach the people. Now let's go to verse 11. "How, ye inhabitants of Maktesh, for all the merchant people are cut down, all they that bear silver are cut off." So even the merchants are going to get judged. "And it shall come to pass at that time that I will search Jerusalem with candles, and punish the men that are settled on their lees, that say in their heart, The Yah will not do good, neither will he do evil." I don't think Yah's going to do anything. He's just going to sit there and watch. But we know that there's a different end coming for those that are settled on their lees. Verse 13, "Therefore their goods shall become a booty, and their houses a desolation. They shall also build houses, but not inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards, but not drink the wine thereof." So they're going to build and plant, but they're not going to reap the rewards. Verse 14, "The great day of the Yah is near. It is near, and hasteth greatly. Even the voice of the day of the Yah, the mighty man shall cry there bitterly." So people are going to be wailing and lamenting and crying. "That day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness." For who? For the wicked. 16, verse 16. A day of the trumpet and an alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers. And I will bring distress upon men, that they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against the Yah, and their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as dung. Not going to be much left to them when Yah gets through with them. Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Yah's wrath. So even if you have all the riches of the world, if you're on the wrong side, you won't be delivered. But the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy, for he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land. So all those that are against the Yah and his people, which is the nation of Israel today, and he has people at hand to come. You know, the Iranians, the Iraqis, the Saudi Arabians, all the Muslim and Arab people over there, the Syrians, people in Jordan, Moab, and Ammon. He's going to make a speedy riddance and get rid of them out of the land.
Also, those who are calling themselves Jews and are the synagogue of Satan.
Right.
So Israel and the Jews doesn't mean the people who are calling themselves Israel and the Jews right now. It's Yah's, it's the seed.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's only the seed that...
Explain that.
Well, it's only the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the chosen ones, that he is going to fulfill his prophecies to and bring them back to their homeland. Now, there's basically two classes of Jews and Israelites. If you read in Galatians 4, it talks about the bondwoman and the free woman. Hagar was the bondwoman, and her offspring through Ishmael was after the flesh. And now Ishmael, through Abraham, there are the Arabians in the land of the promised land over there in the Mideast today, surrounding Israel. They're the ones that are of the bondwoman, and they're not the rightful inheritors of the land. It says, "In Isaac shall thy seed be called." And Isaac come through Sarah, the free woman, and she is from Jerusalem, the city of Yah, which is above everything else upon this earth. In fact, it's going to be in the last days, if you go to Micah 4, what's going to happen to Jerusalem. It's going to be exalted. If I can find it. Micah chapter 4 and verses 1 and 2. But in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of the Yah shall be established in the top of the mountains. It's going to be exalted, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow unto it. And many nations shall come and say, "Come and let us go up to the mountain of the Yah, and to the house of the Yah of Jacob." So the seed comes through Jacob, not Ishmael. "And he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of the Yah from Jerusalem." So we know that Zion and Jerusalem is going to be the headquarters of his work of saving the Gentiles in the last days.
So what my question is for the people who are trying to see, because you hear people saying Israel and Jerusalem, the people that are there today, the Israelites and people from there, are they Yah's chosen people that that all the land is going to come to, or who is he talking about? For they are themselves, they rejected the Messiah. So do they get the treasures of the Father?
No. Only if they recognize him and mourn for him as one mourneth for his only son, in Zechariah 13 talks about that. Now, if they have a change of heart and recognize that he is Messiah when he comes in his glory, like he will this time, then they can remain. But if they refuse the Messiah the second time, then that's it. They're done.
So who's Israel today?
The true Israel is the what we would call the apostolic church that was driven out of Jerusalem. It says here in Luke 21:24, I'll read verse 23, "But woe unto them that are with child," let me see it, verse 19, "In your patience possess ye your souls. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, and then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. And let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains. And let them which are in the midst of it depart out. And let them Let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto, for these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Now this happened in 70 AD, about almost 40 years after they crucified Yahshua, their Messiah. And the Roman armies came and they destroyed Jerusalem, and the people that escaped and fled out, they were scattered among the nations, and they were basically the seed of the Apostolic Church, those that accepted him as their Messiah. And they went to the European nations and other places as well to find refuge.
So they were scattered all over. They're still scattered.
Right.
But he's going to bring them back into the land. That's true Israel.
Yeah.
Those that were scattered, they believed in the Messiah.
The ones that accepted Joshua as their Messiah, they were given a sign to get out of the city, and they did. They fled. Not one, what we'd call a Christian, lost their life in the destruction of Jerusalem 70 AD. But those that were rejected him and said, his blood be upon us, they all perished. Over 1.1 million Jews died in that great destruction. And so Jerusalem was trodden down of the Gentiles back then, and it was a byword and a hissing for many, many centuries until in the 1940s the carpenters went in and the Jews went back in there and built the land up and got it ready and prepared for his people that are at hand to come. So these are the true Israelites of today, those that believe in the Messiah, that have a Christian heritage and will obey his voice and do all that he tells them to do.
So like type and antitype, where there was an exodus, they are sojourners,
yeah.
And
Pilgrims.
they're pilgrims. So we know that here in the United States, the Pilgrims is the name of the people that came here. And they had freedom from the persecution of the British throne for their evil laws that they had, their civil laws, and they were also fleeing from the persecution of the Catholic Church that said if you didn't become a Catholic, you will be killed. There was the Dark Ages. So we look down through history and we see that the people that believed in the Messiah and that believed in the law of Moses, that they knew for sure that that the law was not nailed to the cross, that was just the ordinances that the people had broken that were against them. They were forgiven forever with the death on the cross, because we know that Luke says, heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. So you couldn't put the words of the law of Moses on the cross, because his words will not pass away. So those who believed, those that were still keeping the feast days, those were doing all these things. We know that in the Edict of 1492, those people were persecuted for their beliefs in the law of Moses. So all these people down to today, these people are the seed. Some of these people don't even realize all their history. They don't even know who they are. They were scattered, but Yah's going to bring them back into the land. He cannot do that until he clears it out.
Right.
That's what he's doing right now, clearing it out. People who are on the wrong side are killing each other.
Yeah.
They're cleaning out the land right now, so to speak, with these wars, and it's all part of the plan. Yah moves kings in the way that he wants them, so it's all part of the plan. So when we're reading these scriptures of these future prophecies, we're telling you, we're seeing this before our very eyes. These
things being fulfilled. It's the time of the effect of every vision.
Right.
Every vision that these prophets wrote here in the Old Testament, as well as the New, they're coming to pass in our day, because those that are the true bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and their seed after them, they will see and understand this, and they will take hold of the prophecies, and they'll follow the covenant, which the covenant, the main part of the covenant is that that land shall be for them an eternal possession. And so they have a right to go back and possess that land, and they will. But Yah has to do a work to clean it out first. And we'll read Zephaniah 1:18 again. Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Yah's wrath. So he's got Yah's wrath coming up on all those that are against his people and his word and his laws. But the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy, for he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land. So those that are in the land that he promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and their seed after them, he's going to make a speedy riddance of them. Well, how speedy is that riddance? Let's go to Zechariah 3 and read verse 7 through 10. Thus saith the Yahweh of hosts, if thou wilt walk in my ways, and if thou wilt keep my charge, then thou shalt also judge my house, and shalt also keep my courts, and I will give thee places to walk among these that stand by. So we got to walk in his ways and keep his charge. Hear now, O Joshua the high priest, thou and thy fellow servants that sit before thee, for they are men wondered at. For behold, I will bring forth my servant the branch. These servants that sat before Joshua are the 144,000. Verse 9. For behold, the stone is Daniel 2, the one cut out of the mountains without hands. Behold, the stone that I have laid before Joshua, upon one stone shall be 7 eyes, perfect vision. Behold, I will engrave the gravings thereof, saith the Yahweh of hosts, and I will remove the iniquity of that land in 1 day. And so a day in prophecy equals 1 year. So it's going to take him a year to clean that land out, but he's going to do it and make a speedy riddance of it. And that day, saith the Yahweh of hosts, shall ye call every man his neighbor under the vine and under the fig tree. So this is what we're looking forward to, that this was Israel's commission when they came out of Egypt and were to go into the promised land. They were to drive out all the heathen that were in there. Well, they didn't get the job done, and so they eventually got driven out of the land themselves and have been sojourners and pilgrims in this earth for at least 2,000 or 3,000 years. Well, yeah, a couple thousand, over 2,000 or 3,000 years anyway, since this has happened. So it's time for them to go back and repossess their land. Now in Zephaniah 2 verse 1 says, gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. So by all these Ishmaelites in these Arabian countries over there, Israel is a nation that is not desired. They very much hate it. And so Yah has to do a work upon them to get rid of them. Before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as a chaff, before the fierce anger of the Yah come upon you, before the day of the Yah's anger come upon you. That's one thing you don't want, is for Yah's anger to come upon you, because when it does, you're finished. Seek ye the Yah, all ye meek of the earth, which have wrought his judgment. Seek righteousness, seek meekness. It may be you shall be hid in the day of the Yah's anger. Well, how will you be hid? Daniel 12:1 says, if your name is written in the Lamb's Book of Life, you'll be delivered when the time of trouble such as never was commences. So that's how you're hid. You need to find out how to get your name written in that Lamb's Book of Life. Now in Zephaniah 2:9 says, therefore as I live, saith the Yah of hosts, the Yah of Israel, surely Moab shall be as Sodom, and the children of Ammon as Gomorrah, even the breeding of nettles and salt pits, and a perpetual desolation. The residue of my people shall spoil them, the remnant, and the remnant of my people shall possess them. Now Moab and Ammon were the two daughters of Lot they were two sons of Lot through his two daughters, and they are present day Jordan, across the Jordan River and the Dead Sea and so forth. So they're going to be as salt pits. They're going to be as Sodom and Gomorrah. Well, what happened to them? Fire and brimstone rained upon them.
And the remnant of my people shall possess them.
So that's right, his remnant. They're going to possess this land. And there's many prophecies that cover this, which we don't have time to get into now, but we're going to get what we can. And as far as these judgments come upon the land. Now verse 15 in chapter 2 says, this is the rejoicing city that dwelt carelessly, that said in her heart, I am, and there is none beside me. How has she become a desolation, a place for beasts to lie down in? Every one that passeth by her shall hiss and wag his hand. And that's the way Jerusalem was for many centuries, was a desolation. And people that passed by hissed and wagged their hand. Now let's go to chapter 3.
Zephaniah.
Zephaniah chapter 3. Woe to her that is filthy and polluted, to the oppressing city. Now, this is a present day prophecy for the SDA church.
Because it's saying judgment on Jerusalem.
Yeah.
And Ellen G. White says that we are, the city.
Yeah, the city of Jerusalem is the SDA church. He says in reference to Ezekiel 9, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, set a mark upon those that sigh and cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. So if you're in the SDA church and you're sighing and crying for the abominations that are done therein, you might very well get that mark upon your forehead. But you've got to come a little further than that, and you've got to accept all of the light that Yah has revealed to his servants, the prophets, and not just stay with Sister White. Now verse 2 says, she, SDA, obeyed not the voice. She received not correction. She trusted not in the Yah. She drew not near to her Yah. Her princes within her are roaring lions. Her judges are evening wolves. How come they're wolves? Well, in Matthew, Yahshua said, beware of them that come unto you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. These are men that are deceitful leaders in the Adventist church, namely the Jesuits. They've come in pretending like they're the shepherd of the sheep, and yet they're there to tear the flock up.
So these princes, see, you have to look at these. This language is explaining very much what we see today. They're the leaders, the princes. They're like Ted Wilson, Ghanom Diop, all these people like Nelson and Batchelor,
Nelson, yeah.
And there's three main ones.
Mark Finley.
Finley, okay, Mark Finley. These are their princes, and but they are
roaring lions, yeah.
Evening wolves. See, because the wolves come around at the evening hour, right before it gets dark, and they start looking for their prey. And so that's what we see these wolves are doing, looking for their prey. They get all your money, all your tithes. You're not supposed to give your tithes to the wolves. And so they're taking their prey, they're taking whatever they can, they're taking your lives, and they wrap themselves in a shepherd's, in a sheep's clothing. You think they're sheep, they look just like an SDA, they act like an SDA, they talk like an SDA, but the reason and how you can tell they're a wolf is their doctrine. They're telling you lies. They've put the SDA under these false doctrines, which is the Trinity and the Eucharist, and
everything was done at the cross.
Everything was done at the cross, and so they've put the cross on every church. And so we know from previously the SDAs did not have crosses on their churches. And so it's, if somebody kills you, like Yahshua was killed by this cross, say he was killed with a gun, would you now worship the gun? No. It's about his sacrifice for you. And so they are putting, the cross as that's their sign, because they killed a heretical king in their eyes. The Catholic Church did, the Romans.
Sign of triumph.
So there's so many things that are showing you that they've taken over the church. And here it talks about, this is talking about SDA. Her princes within her are roaring lions. Go ahead, 4.
Right. Her prophets are light and treacherous persons. In other words, they're treasonous, treacherous. They're false prophets. They don't.
Right. All the pastors that are saying there's nothing to worry about. In fact, there was a new video with Ted Wilson that told people not to worry about the Sunday law.
Yeah.
That it's not going to happen anytime soon, which the Sunday law is just so minute in prophecy that we don't even discuss it here, because that was just a hard belief during the 1800s, and we have more prophecy after that.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is Ted Wilson is telling the people, relax, peace and safety, nothing's going to happen right now, maybe in the future. So that's what he's saying. He's a prophet. He's a false prophet.
Cried peace, peace when there's no peace. Right. Her prophets are light and treacherous persons. Her priests have polluted the sanctuary. The priests are the ministers. They pollute the sanctuary because they teach it falsely and don't even point people to the sanctuary as the plan of salvation. And they have done violence to the law. They hate the law. They say it was done away with, nailed to the cross. So they do violence to it. So what Yah's going to do violence to them?
They do violence to the law because it says that no way will his law pass.
Yeah.
There's no way that
one tittle shall no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled.
Right. So to say that the law of Moses was nailed to the cross is a big fat lie.
Yeah.
And that's their mantra. So you've got to wake up and start judging and taking things to the law and the testimony and seeing that they don't have any light. And it doesn't matter if they're called SDA. It doesn't matter all these things. You've got to read other quotes. We know people just go, she's not Babylon, she's not Babylon.
We're going to get in that.
But we're going to go on that verse to show you what the scripture says.
Yeah.
Right. And so what we want to do is give you a picture that we're talking about SDA, the reason why they have to be cast off. Right. And he's going to pull out a remnant. And he's pulling it out now. If you're seeing this video and you're a Seventh-day Adventist, he's trying to tell you to get in line with the kingdom. Start studying what the kingdom has to offer you, present truth. Ellen G. White says what the flock needs now is present truth. And so having 1800s information, they were coming out of the dark ages. They didn't have as much as we have today from all the prophets who've come between Ellen G. White and now. And so this is what we're talking about. History is taking place with Trump saying Jerusalem is the capital.
Is the capital. That's where we're
of
going to
Israel.
put our embassy.
Yeah. Oh, so we're going to put our embassy. And people started having a war. Why are they having a war? Because the Bible says the land has to be cleaned out. And he's going to give it to original inheritors. Right, which are the seed of Abraham. Yeah. And who are they? They are the pilgrims who came over here to America. And they started accepting all the truth. They accept the Sabbath. Then they accept the feast days. This is his law and his kingdom laws. So there's so much that you're missing out on when you stay stuck in SDA, and he's upset. He's mad. He's going to get rid of them. Yeah. Because they stopped learning truth. They said, we have all the truth we need. We are rich and increased with goods. Truth is goods. We don't need anything else. So every time you give somebody a truth about something, they say, I don't need that. Like Bill Hughes. Bill Hughes said that we don't have to keep the feast days, and he shrugged off two people who tried to teach him, and he said, thanks a lot, I don't need it. He shook their hand and said, I don't need it. And many people are doing that. They're saying, I don't need that law. But the kingdom has the law of Moses. Right. The 144,000 sing the song of Moses and the Lamb. Right. So if you don't want the law of Moses and you say that was nailed and done away with, and you believe what the Catholics tell you about what happened at the cross, you're taking their interpretation of Colossians 2:14 and believing it, then you need to get on the side with Bill Hughes and Ted Wilson, Ghanem Diop. They're all Catholic influence. They don't know it, but they are. Some of them do know it. Ghanem is a Catholic. And he's there telling you what to do, and that you've got religious freedom. No worries. No worries.
Peace and safety when there sudden destruction come upon them. Okay. Let's go back to Zephaniah 3 and verse 7. I said, surely thou wilt fear me, thou wilt receive instruction, so their dwellings should not be cut off. Howsoever I punished them, but they rose early and corrupted all their doings. So even when he punished them, they still were corrupted. Verse 8, therefore wait ye upon me, saith Yah, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. Are you ready for that? I mean, if you're not in the kingdom, his kingdom, then you're going to be out there facing this fire of his jealousy. That ain't going to be any fun. But afterwards...
And he brings all the nations together to judge them.
Yeah.
So you're having a judgment here on the earth, so and there's going to be fire. It says on the earth.
Right, okay. It's on the earth. So that's what he's going to do over there in Israel. He's going to bring all nations against Jerusalem to battle. And so when he does that, then he brings them to judgment, and they show that there's no doubt that they're against Israel, that they're against his people, that they're against his laws, and he's going to wipe them out. Just that way, he said so. He's going to... Also in Ezekiel 38 and 39 about Gog and Magog, he's going to wipe them out. But afterwards, here in verse 9 says, for then will I return to the people a pure language, that they may call upon the name of the Yahshua to serve him with one consent. So, what is this pure language? What does that mean? Well, in verse 13 says, the remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity, nor speak lies, neither shall a deceitful tongue be found in their mouth, for they shall feed and lie down, and none shall make them afraid. So the remnant's not going to be afraid, but the rest of the world is.
Right. But when we talk about, we're going to really hone in on the fact, if you're awake to what's happening in the world, that when somebody, when you open a bank account, there's a little tiny line on the bottom of the check, real tiny, that you can't see unless you magnify it, but it has a disclaimer right there when you sign underneath it. You're saying, yes, I allow this bank to give my information to whoever they need to give it to, which means the IRS. Who is the IRS? So all these small writings, or when you hear on the radio about a car deal, and then at the end they have this not subject to blah blah blah, or the fine print, or when you make a deal with somebody and if you don't write it on paper, you don't have the details or whatever, you're afraid because you don't know if they're going to come and change that. Everything right now, everything people speak, like the media, it's not telling you what's really happening behind the scenes. It may tell you, oh, Trump did this, Trump did that. And then you find out, well, guess what? That didn't happen. Or guess what? This is what really happened. So these are lies. The media is lying to you. It's owned by the CIA, and the Jesuits own the CIA.
Yeah.
And the lies that are said in the government, the lies that are oppressing the people, the lies that are at your job, where you have to tell somebody to open a credit card or whatever, all this is, everything is done by deceit and lies and for people's advantages. And it's saying we're going to have a pure language. If I say something to you and I make a deal with you, we don't even have to write it down on paper. I can say, here's my 2 goats and you're going to give me, 4 chickens or 10 chickens, and that's a deal. Thank you very much. It's a pure system based on pure measurements, based on the law of Moses. If the law of Moses says that you're to do something this way, you're going to do it, and you're going to follow it, and you're going to speak purely. You're going to know what the Yah's words are. You're not going to have a preacher who's telling you, you don't have to keep the law of Moses, it was abolished at the cross, when that's deceit. That is a Catholic teaching. You're not going to have this anymore. It says he's going to give us a pure language. The words that you speak, there's going to be no guile in your mouth.
So 1,000, they have no guile in their mouth.
They're teaching the truth because they sing the Song of Moses. They're saying the Song of Moses is the law. That's going to be our law. We're going to sing it. We're going to be happy. We're going to be joyful.
Rejoice.
We're going to love his law because it's so good and it has so many pure things in it. So we're going to have a pure language.
Absolutely. Now in Isaiah 28 and verse 16 says, Therefore thus saith the Yahweh, Behold, I lay in Zion for a foundation a stone, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. He that believeth shall not make haste. This Zion stone is Yasha, the chief cornerstone. Verse 17, Judgment also will I lay to the line, and righteousness to the plummet. And the hail shall sweep away the refuge of lies, and the water shall overflow the hiding place. And your covenant with death shall be disannulled, and your agreement with hell shall not stand. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, then ye shall be trodden down by it. Now, so that's, he's going to sweep away the refuge of lies. And then in verse 21, For the Yah shall rise up as in Mount Perazim, and he shall be wroth as in the valley of Gibeon, that he may do his work, his strange work, and bring to pass his act, his strange act. Now therefore be ye not mockers, lest your bands be made strong, for I have heard from the Yahweh of hosts a consummation, even determined upon the whole earth.
Now when you look up that word consummation, it means the end, okay?
Right.
So it's consuming this world the way you know it, the way things are run, the laws that are hidden in, it's called hidden contracts. There's a lawyer for the World Bank, and she talks about these hidden contracts, and they're everywhere. You have to make a contract between someone. If something happens, they're like, well, where's your contract? Did you write it down? Do you have proof? Everything has to be like that because nobody trusts each other, because people are liars, false measurements, false weights. And Ellen G. White says that we're going to be found wanting.
Weighed in the balances and found wanting.
Weighed in the balances and found wanting. Why? Because if you're deceitful and you're telling people a lie that this is the truth and it's not, well, you're giving them false information and they won't be saved. So only those who are going to be giving the gospel
Truth,
of the kingdom and truth about the sanctuary that's in heaven and about Yahshua our high priest are going to be allowed to preach, be allowed to speak. So there's going to be an end upon the world that it is today with this deceit.
Right. It's all going to,
false religions.
It's all going to change, and only truth and light will be ruling upon this earth.
Propagating throughout the earth.
Once all this iniquity comes to its end, and it will come to an end. Now in Zephaniah 3:14 says, "Sing, O daughter of Zion, shout, O Israel, be glad and rejoice with all the heart, O daughter of Jerusalem." So this is his remnant, the daughter of Zion and the daughter of Jerusalem. That's the one. That's the company you want to be in. That's the company you want to join. If you don't make it, if you're an SDA and you're not part of the daughter of Zion, daughter of Jerusalem, then you're cut off. Verse 15, "Yah hath taken away thy judgments. He hath cast out thine enemy." Who's that enemy? It's the Jesuit order. "The King of Israel, even the Yah and the Yasha, is in the midst of thee. Thou shalt not see evil anymore." So he's going to be right here on this earth in our midst, and he's going to be our king, and he's going to bring in these judgments upon the heathen nations. "In that day it shall be said to Jerusalem, Fear thou not, and to Zion, Let not thy hands be slack. The Yahweh in the midst of thee is mighty." So there you go. He was in the midst of Israel when he took them out of Egypt with that pillar of fire by night and pillar of cloud by day. He's going to return and be in our midst in the last days. "He will save, he will rejoice over thee with joy. He will rest in his love. He will joy over thee with singing." See, even Yah is going to be singing. "I will gather them that are sorrowful for the solemn assembly, who are of thee, to whom the reproach of it was a burden." So here you go. If you don't keep the solemn assembly, you're not going to get gathered. "Behold, at that time," and the solemn assembly is the last day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread and the last day of the Feast of Tabernacles. They are a feast day that you have to keep in the latter days. Verse 19, "Behold, at that time I will undo all that afflict thee, and I will save her that halteth, and gather her that was driven out, and I will get them praise and fame in every land where they have been put to shame." So you're going to be famous if you're this daughter of Jerusalem, daughter of Zion. "At that time I will bring you again, even in the time that I gather you, for I will make you a name and a praise among all people of the earth, when I turn back your captivity before your eyes, saith the Yah." So you're going to see this all happening. The daughter of Zion is in captivity today. And so let's go now to Zechariah chapter 2 and verse 4. "And he said unto him, Run, speak to this young man, saying, Jerusalem shall be inhabited as towns without walls, for the multitude of men and cattle therein." So this Jerusalem is going to be inhabited with righteous men that keep his solemn feast, Ezekiel 36. Verse 5, "For I, saith Yah, will be unto her a wall of fire round about, and will be the glory in the midst of her." There he's in the midst, therefore.
So there you see, this is the scripture, this is true, not your priest telling you something else. Yah is going to be in the midst of his people in Jerusalem. And
right.
You said, and you were about to say something.
There's going to be a multitude of men and cattle there. He wouldn't put a wall of fire around wicked men. These people have to be righteous.
This is a protection.
Right. So the enemy can't do nothing.
These are promises for the last days, you're going to see these things happen unless he gets rid of you because you're against him. He wants only those who believe his word. The preachers, the pastors, the people who have all these different little groups, and they say they're the ones you're worried about. Oh, there's false preachers. Well, if they're reading the scripture and they're telling you these same things, then they're going to be part of the latter day movement. But if they say that this isn't true, this was a covenant and it was broken,
it was for the old Israel of old,
because this has never come to pass.
Right.
This is not historical. This is prophetic. So this is what we see as coming to pass. The Father comes down here and he's in the midst.
Yeah, he's going to direct his people just like he did when he brought them out of Egypt. Now verse 6.
It says, "Will be the glory in the midst of her." So you know, in Revelation 18, there's the glory of Yah. So this is letting you know these are in the latter days.
Right. It's our time. Verse 6. Ho, ho, come forth and flee from the land of the north, saith Yah.
North America.
Yeah. For I have spread you abroad as the four winds of the heavens, saith Yah. He spread us out. Now he's going to gather them back.
Right.
Verse 7. This is key. Deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwellest with the daughter of Babylon. Who's the daughter of Babylon? SDA. Because you go to Revelation 17, it talks about Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. So if she's a mother of harlots, that means she has daughters. And she says she sits upon the seven heads, which the Bible says are seven mountains, and mountains is churches. So those seven heads are the seven churches of Asia, and Laodicea is one of them. So SDA is one of the daughters of Babylon, and she has captured Zion, the 144,000 first fruits.
So let's break down that, because people are so upset if you say anything. Oh, she's not Babylon. Oh, she's not the daughter. This says, deliver yourself,
O Zion.
O Zion, that dwelleth with the daughter of Babylon. You're dwelling with them if you're still there in SDA. You're dwelling with the daughter of Babylon. Why? Because SDA has been taken over by the Catholic Church. All those leaders that you look up to, that you think are marvelous and great, and they've got you in like a daze where you every time you go to church you're so sleepy because they're not telling you the truth. That's how people are dwelling with the daughter of Babylon. Not necessarily, you don't see a Catholic, procession at your church, which is coming soon to a church near you, but you're seeing that SDA is dwelling with them. They're giving off their propaganda, their lies. They're telling you that the Eucharist is true. They're telling you that the Trinity is true. And just recently, in the third quarter of this year, in the Sabbath school lessons, they had some quotes from a Catholic priest in the Sabbath school lesson. They're slowly trying to give you a little bit at a time, because you can't take it all. You're just so sleepy. Oh yeah, one little thing at a time, they can slip it in. So this scripture says, deliver yourself, O Zion. If you say, well, we're the true church, and it's the church and the tares, and it says deliver yourself from the daughter of Babylon, because you're dwelling with them. Deliver yourself. Get out. That's what the scripture says.
Yeah. Escape for your life.
Right.
Get away from it.
Get out. Go to where the truth is being given, which is here in Texas, here in this flock of Sharon, which is the original name of Israel, Yasharim. And there's 4 places, and we have some more studies about that. But you've got to move with the prophecies, present truth. You got to keep going, because you know what? Your church got taken over by Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, not Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, and everybody is lulled to sleep by these false shepherds who are the sermons are horrible. They're telling you that there's nothing you can do to be saved. That's the main theme. It's your relationship. Yet in the scriptures, not once, if you put a search engine and you look for the word relationship, is it in the scripture once? The Bible tells you the way is, thy way, O Yah, is in the sanctuary. So if you want to know your salvation, you need to know how the sanctuary operates, how the high priest officiates for you. That's Yasha. You need to know his name. He says, if my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves. Well, we know there's no place in the scripture that he says his name is Seventh-day Adventist. That doesn't even make sense. The father's name is Yasha. The son's name is Yasha. And so that name that you take on is Yasharun, the original name of Israel. That's how come we know those people in Israel and those people that calling themselves Israel, they're synagogue of Satan, because they lost the true name.
Say they're Jews and they're not.
Right.
They do lie.
They're lying to you, those people over there. And if you're getting your information, like your calendar, your feast days, or whatever, from all these false preachers in the Messianic movement, you're also in a fog. You're taking your information from the Antichrist. That's what John says. So back to the study, but I just want to say, for those of you who are still in SDA, it says, deliver yourself, O Zion, that dwelleth with the daughter of Babylon. Get out.
Yeah. All right. Verse 8. For thus saith the Yah of hosts, After the glory hath he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you. For he that toucheth you touches the apple of his eye. So that's how important his remnant is, Zion, in his sight. If they touch the apple of his eye, then they're going to get vengeance from him. For behold, I will shake mine hand upon them, and they shall be a spoil to their servants, and ye shall know that the Yah of hosts has sent me. Sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for lo, I come, and I will dwell in the midst of thee, saith the Yah.
Right.
So he's going to dwell with the daughter of Zion in their midst, here on this earth in the last days.
So they have to come out to meet with him. They can't stay in the false church, and Yah's not going to be there.
Right. And many nations shall be joined to the Yah in that day, and shall be my people, and I will dwell in the midst of thee, and thou shalt know that the Yah of hosts has sent me unto thee. There you go. And the Yah shall inherit Judah his portion in the Holy Land, and shall choose Jerusalem again. Be silent, O all flesh, before the Yah, for he is raised up out of his holy habitation. And when he does that, you have the half hour of silence. So we'll go now to the 8th chapter of Zechariah. Zechariah is just filled with wonderful prophecies of the last days, but we're...
When's the last time your preacher preached from Zechariah?
Yeah, they don't even know what...
I've never heard of preachers... Yeah. Oh, one time when I was a kid maybe, but since then...
Right. They have no idea because they don't have inspiration. They have no understanding of what these prophecies teach. And Zechariah 8:1 says, again, the word of the Yah of hosts came to me, saying, Thus saith the Yah of hosts, I was jealous for Zion with great jealousy, and I was jealous for her with great fury. So there you go. He's so jealous for Zion, there's nothing going to stop him from bringing him forth and delivering him and exalting him above this earth. Thus saith the Yah, I am returned unto Zion, and will dwell in the midst of Jerusalem. There you go. He's going to be right here, dwelling in Jerusalem. He's going to live right there. And Jerusalem shall be called a city of truth. And the mountain of the Yah of hosts, the holy mountain. So Zion's his holy mountain. Jerusalem's his holy mountain. Jerusalem's the city of truth. This holy mountain is his kingdom church organization in the latter days. Thus saith the Yah of hosts, there shall yet old men and old women dwell in the streets of Jerusalem, and every man with his staff in his hand for very age. So you're going to have kids and old men dwelling there and playing in the streets and having a good time and everything else, because they'll be under the dominion of Yah's kingdom, Zion, Latter-day Church, and in the land of Jerusalem, Israel, in the last days. And he's going to take out over all that land for all his people, because he's going to have multitudes of men there, and women, and children. Thus saith the Yah of hosts, if it be marvelous in the eyes of the remnant of this people in these days, should it also be marvelous in mine eyes, saith the Yah of hosts. It's going to be a very marvelous thing when these things come to pass. It's going to be great. Thus saith the Yah of hosts, behold, I will save my people from the east country and from the west country. Bring them from the east, the west, the north, the south, everywhere. They're going to bring them from the four winds of heaven all the way to Jerusalem, Israel. And I will bring them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and they shall be my people, and I will be their Yah in truth and in righteousness. So they're going to be joined, because the bride, the Lamb's wife, is going to be married to him, and he's going to bring them forth. All right, let's go to, there's a lot of good stuff here. Zechariah 12, verse 1. This is kind of what's happening in the land of Israel today. The burden of the word of the Yah for Israel, saith the Yah, which stretcheth forth the heavens, and layeth the foundation of the earth, and formeth the spirit of man within him. So without Yah, you don't even have a spirit. You can't even have the breath of life, because he formed it. And if you disobey him and turn against him, he'll take that spirit away, and you'll die.
We've seen people just pass away lately. I mean, it's just, you know, Yah chooses when to take you. Right.
Yeah, you got to be ready. But if you obey and you're faithful to him and you join his kingdom, you shall not die. It says there in, I think it's Habakkuk or Haggai, that his people will not die. Because he's going to have people, Ellen G. White calls living saints, 104,000 number, that shall never die. And if you join that number, you can live forever and never go through the grave.
And all the people who accept his truth and are living at this time when he's judging between righteous and unrighteous.
Right.
He's going to come and, divide the goats and the sheep and all that. If you're selected to be one of the sheep, you never die.
Mm-hmm. Live forever. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people round about, when they shall be in the siege, both against Judah and against Jerusalem. So here you go. Jerusalem's going to be a cup of trembling to all these nations round about that want to go and make war with her and wipe her out and push the Jews into the sea and destroy them forever and eliminate them, and they'll get rid of all their problems. But it's going to be the opposite. They're the ones that's going to get eliminated. Verse 3 says, and in that day, this is the latter days, in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces, though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it. And they are. All the people of the earth, they're going to, especially all the heathen, are going to be against it. They're all going to get cut in pieces. They're going to get destroyed. They're going to get grind to powder because it's a burdensome stone. In that day, saith the Yah, I will smite every horse with astonishment, and his rider with madness, and I will open mine eyes upon the house of Judah, and will smite every horse of the people with blindness. So all these people that, part of these armies that come against Judah and Jerusalem, they're going to be blinded. Can't see what they're doing. They're just going to be smitten left and right. And the governors of Judah shall say in their heart, the inhabitants of Jerusalem shall be my strength, and the Yah of hosts their Yah. In that day will I make the governors of Judah, the governors are the leaders, the lawgivers, and we're the governors of Judah, those chosen ones, 144,000. I will make the governors of Judah like a hearth of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in a sheaf, and they shall devour all the people round about, on the right hand and on the left, and Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in her own place, even in Jerusalem. So you talk about the message going like fire through the stubble. That's what this is. Hearth of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in a sheaf. It's just going to burn through the wicked and deliver the righteous. The also shall say the tents of Judah first, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. So there you go. You want to be the tents of Judah. That's the first tribe saved. They're going to be the glory of the house of David. And David's house is Yahshua coming to reign as King David upon this earth. In that day shall the Yah defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as Yah, as the angel of the Yah before them. So if you're weak and hesitating, or feeble, you're going to have the courage of David at this time, once you know all these things. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem, and I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and supplications, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced. That would only be Yahshua, the son of Yah. Look upon him whom they have pierced, his descendants. And they shall mourn for him as one mourneth for his only son, and they shall be in bitterness for him as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. And this is the hope of the Jew in the land today that hasn't accepted him as their Messiah. If they will be bitter and lament and ask for forgiveness for what their ancestor did, then he will deliver and save them. Okay, we'll close with this. In that day there shall be a fountain open to the house of David and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem for sin and for uncleanness. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Yah of hosts, that I will cut off the names of the idols out of the land. And there's a lot of idols in Israel today, and they're going to get cut out of the land. And they shall no more be remembered, and I will cause the prophets and the unclean spirit to pass out of the land. So he's going to cleanse that land, get rid of the false prophets and the unclean spirit that they brought in there, and it's going to be a purified land and purified people. So, Zechariah 10, we'll read one more about the latter rain. The whole chapter is good. It says, ask ye of the Yah rain in the time of the latter rain, so the Yah shall make bright clouds and give them showers of rain to everyone grass in the field. What is the latter rain?
We're going to do a whole study on the latter rain in the next time we get together, and we just wanted to put together what's happening right now.
Present truth. the
in
effect
the
of every
earth.
vision.
In the earth, what you see, Trump.
Yeah.
What you see, you don't see it because you don't watch the news, but
if you follow mainstream media, you're not getting any of it.
yeah, you're not going to know what are
if you
all
go
these
to the
great things that are happening.
Alternative news sources and other things where y'all lead you, then you'll see exactly
People
what's
are
taking
coming
place.
down. Haughty people are coming down. People that
Yeah.
have been in power for a long time, 50-something years, they're coming down because
Yeah.
they're evil men. They're
Judgment time.
yeah, their judgment is here, and so we're living in the time of great
Great and glorious events. Yeah.
things that people have
Things
prophesied.
you've never seen and heard before are going to take place in these last days.
And you're seeing the beginnings of it right now. So we thank y'all for your time with us, and we ask that you continue to seek His truth and go to timesandlaws.com for your information.
And write to us and we'll send you a creation calendar to show you the true time to keep God's holy feast days. God bless everyone in His kingdom.